Let me get rid of this. Participants. Okay. All right, start recording. Hey guys, it's Andrew from REI Live Columbia, and we're here again with another podcast episode where we are talking about cash flow in real estate and focusing on our local market in Columbia, the Midlands, and all of South Carolina. So this is a cash flow market. There are plenty of markets out there that are like this. So if you're in one of those, you can listen up. If you'd like to get in one of those, then come to Columbia and we can help you do that. So I've got an amazing guest today. The number one realtor in Columbia or Lexington, I guess the whole Midlands area. It's huge. Sarah Bennett is with us, guys. She has blown up the scene with selling properties, buying properties as an agent for a ton of people. She'll tell you the numbers. I don't know what it is, but we're going to talk about what does the Lexington and Columbia markets look like for retail buyers, retail sellers. What is that market doing right now? It's basically going gangbusters, but what does that actually mean? So I'm going to let you, Sarah, if you can give us a little introduction, just tell us a little bit about your background and why did you start in real estate?
Yeah, so my name is Sarah Bennett, and I am a realtor with Better Homes and Garden Real Estate Medley in the Midlands. I'm also the lead agent for my team, Team Sarah. I have been doing real estate now for over 5 years, and it has just really blown up like you were mentioning just a minute ago. It's really blown up over the past few years. I service most of the Midlands. I do sell a lot in Lexington, which has kind of become probably like half of my business alone is here in Lexington, whether that's like Murray or, out in Gilbert, land, whatever it is. I do a lot out here in Lexington now.
Yeah. And so you, was this a part-time deal when you first started, or was this full-time always? I know you have two young kids, two young girls.
So I got into real estate after my second daughter turned 1. And I had a full-time job prior to that, doing loan administration stuff for 401ks. And I knew I wanted to get back into the workforce, but I knew I didn't want to sit at a desk all day. And so of course, I thought, go into real estate. And it was definitely, I think at the time, I thought just something part-time, make a little bit of extra cash, pay for you've got a daughter. I mean, girls' clothes are just, so expensive.
Yeah.
So started out part-time. And then within the first couple of years, it really just started to blow up to the point where I was like, okay, this is not just a little side hustle. This is a business and it's a career. And it's just really been awesome to see it grow.
Yeah. So it's really funny to hear you say that because when we started, 14 years ago, it was completely side business. It wasn't even a business. It was just a kind of a thing that I did. I bought a rental house and rented it out and got another one. And it wasn't until about 5 years ago when we had 2 kids at that time. Third one was on the way. And we came to the realization that, yes, this real estate thing is a business and it can be a business that provides for your entire family. And so if you decide to make it a business and work it, you can be a nice business and provide a nice income. So that's funny. We're kind of the same time frame. We're like, yeah, this will work. So you worked part-time a little bit, and then did you always focus on Lexington or?
Not at first. I really thought that I would do the majority of my work downtown because even though I do live in Lexington, our lives are very much in Columbia, and I'm from Columbia originally. So, and I do sell a good bit in Columbia. That's not to say that I don't, but it just it's organically kind of spread out into Lexington, sometimes in the Northeast side, in those areas as well. But yeah, no, I didn't think that it would predominantly be in Lexington because honestly, I think I used to, before I got into real estate, I felt that all of the big sales would be in Columbia, but it's turned out that a lot of big sales are going on in Lexington.
Yep. That was kind of my leading question is Columbia gets the acclaim and it's this capital city, but where the market is going is where you as an agent should be going as well. if you're going to stick with the hot market. And there's no denying that Lexington has been the hot market for probably 5 or 6 years. And what do you think is driving that just demand for housing out there?
Well, Lexington, we have Lake Murray. That's a big part of it, even though also, Ballantyne, Chapin also have that.
Yeah.
But Lexington, I think that to get from Lexington to Columbia is much easier than getting from Chapin to Columbia. I think that location is one big part of it.
Yeah.
I think that the lifestyle of being near the lake, near the rivers, all of that is also very appealing. And it's got great schools out here also. So, years ago when we bought our first house out here, we got a huge house for so very little in Lexington.
Yeah.
And now it has just, the market has just, totally, changed to where it is now much more expensive to buy here. But I think for quite a while, people did get a really good deal to buy in Lexington. And now it's so hard to even find something for sale because no one wants to leave. So,
Yeah. Isn't that
yeah.
something? Yeah. With the old, being from Columbia, and that's kind of how we always thought of it, as Lexington. You can go out there and buy a really big house for a lot less, but
Mhm.
that's changed. And what I think is something that a lot of towns and cities and communities really need to focus on is what is driving that demand is a lot of families looking for the good
Mhm.
schools. Uh,
Mhm.
as I look through the real estate listings, people put on in Columbia and in our neck of the woods, there's a couple of great schools. It's the Richland One area for the elementary schools near the
Mhm.
Forest Acres. If they put that on, that house goes immediately. In Lexington, if
Mhm.
they do Lexington One, that house goes immediately. Uh, the communities that want to grow and want people to move there, if you focus on those schools, you are going to do better for your community.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
and for agents like you or realtors like you, uh, how important is that for your clients when you're trying to find them a place? Do you get that request?
I get a lot. Yeah, I do get a lot of requests for specific school districts and specific schools. As an agent, it is also, there's that tricky dance of, I'm never going to certainly steer someone towards a certain school or district like that. But if people ask me, I certainly send them all the info about the districts because it's very easy to find the ratings for the schools and all of that. But yeah, I have people quite frequently. It's like, we have to be in Lexington One. I have someone who's active military. I'm actually going to be selling their home here in Lexington. And they told me that they'll probably come back in 2 to 3 years. And they were like, but the one deal breaker, they said they have to be back, not just at Lexington One, but the same, because they love the schools so much. Like, we have to come back to these same schools. Like, so you
Yeah.
need to be already looking for something that they're
Yeah.
probably going to want to buy in 2 to 3 years. So I was like, great, we'll start that. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead and start looking because it's not going to be available. Uh,
I know. Yeah.
so that I think is driving a lot of the different markets, because you can look uh, inside pockets in Columbia, pockets in Lexington, and if you get that school district map, it's going to
Mhm.
be a vast difference of
Mhm.
how long properties stay on the market and their going rate, what they sell for. So that's
Absolutely.
a very, very important piece to shopping for real estate or selling real estate. If you're an
Mhm.
investor and you're flipping a house, you can't take a comp from a different elementary school if it's a different
Mhm.
district, right? Would you
Yeah.
agree?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So there are still, I know you still list some and sell properties and buy properties in Columbia because you got a listing not far from me. So
Mhm.
I know that you do that. Um, do you think that there's a dynamic difference between Columbia and Lexington, or is it really just kind of a person's preference when they're
I
shopping?
think I think it's definitely people's preference. I mean, when I do sell homes downtown, the school district isn't necessarily their biggest, concern because they're probably going to put their kids in private school. So they don't care so much about that. They definitely care more about maybe just like particular neighborhoods, just because of like location and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So yeah, I think people that want to be downtown, it's funny because I'll talk to agents out here that they're looking in Lexington and be like, why isn't this house sold? I'm like, well, it's a little dated. They're like, this is dated. They're like, what about like, because dated in Lexington is so different from being dated like downtown.
Yes.
And so it's so funny to see the difference of what people look for in areas that are really only 15 to 20 minutes away from each other, and how different their priorities are and what they're looking for.
Yeah. So let's take some of those little communities, because I really would love to do this and get hyper local. So all of you guys, this is REI Live Columbia. So if you don't know what that is, check us out on Facebook, REI Live Columbia, the Facebook group, reilivecolumbia.com. You can find us, and we're going to talk a little bit specific little neighborhoods where those pockets might change. Um, my experience is in Shandon, buyers are more lenient on what they call dated. Would you
Mhm.
agree to that?
Absolutely.
And so, but if you go to Lexington, give me a neighborhood in Lexington, Saluda River Club.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dated in Saluda River Club would be what?
Dark cabinets,
Uh-huh.
brown colors. I mean, that's really, Saluda River Club started being built in 2008.
Right.
So the style of 2008, which was lots of browns,
Yeah.
dark cabinets, dark floors, that is what is considered dated in Saluda River Club. If you have dark cabinets, you're going to have a hard time selling your house, unfortunately, here, as opposed to someone who has white cabinets. And it's so funny because that was the exact conversation I had with this one agent. And they were like, "You've got to be kidding me." I'm like, I hear you. I hear you. But unfortunately, these buyers, they do not want a fixer-upper in Lexington. Most of them don't. Some do, but most do not. And they want it move-in ready. They don't want to have to deal with, they can maybe deal with a little bit of paint. And that's probably the extent of what they want to deal with.
Right. But then we go to Shandon, guys, if you don't know Shandon. So these are two, we're using two really higher end neighborhoods. They're really popular for local
Mhm.
people wanting to live, move a family.
Mhm.
But if the family's moving to Shandon, have you sold one there recently?
Oh yeah. And
What's dated there?
oh gosh, I mean, I think that the biggest deal breaker in Shandon is the master bathroom. Sometimes,
Right.
if it's either not a true, if it's just like an ensuite or like a tiny closet, but even then they're like, oh, we'll just add on. It'll be fine. We can add on. It's not a big deal. So I would say for people in Shandon, it's more like them looking at like if there's been a bunch of weird add-ons in a house that like don't make any sense and mess up the flow, maybe it has like structural concern. That's when I see people more concerned with in Shandon than
Yeah.
paint colors.
In Shandon, they'll buy a pink bathroom,
Yep.
and they'll gut it, right?
Yep.
Like you said, they'll add on for their master bath,
Yeah.
or they'll deal with a one bathroom house,
Yeah.
3 bedroom, 1 bath, and they'll deal with that even with kids, because they know that they can add on to it later.
Yeah.
Um, there's a lot more leniency for a buyer that's okay in Shandon than a buyer okay in Saluda River Club.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
that is one of those hyper local things. These are neighborhoods in and around Columbia that if you are an investor, if you're a flipper or you're buying for rental, if you don't know these differences, you can really get yourself in trouble. If you go into Saluda River Club and you think you're getting a deal because you've this house has brown cabinets, you're like, oh, I could buy this and flip it and turn around, and you try to keep the cabinets. Well, you're never going to sell it. We just, it'll take forever to sell. You'll end up losing money on it, right? But if you go down to Shandon and you keep the brown cabinets, no problem. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the difference in different neighborhoods, different little micro markets inside and of our neighborhoods, the Midlands, Lexington, and the Columbia. So Sarah, if somebody's new to this, new to Columbia, new to Lexington, this town, this area, but they want to invest, how
Mm-hmm.
are they going to find out these differences?
I think that, talking to a local agent, talk to a couple. I mean, get their input, find out kind of, like you're talking about, like what are people looking for in these different areas? Because it does vary quite differently in each neighborhood and each pocket. So I would say absolutely do some research online, kind of looking at Zillow and things like that to kind of see what has sold and what those homes look like, and reach out to an agent to find out what the comps actually are, what buyers are looking for, and all of that.
Yeah. That's exactly what I would say is network. Grow
Yeah.
your network.
Mhm.
Look for someone else that has already done it. Look for the number one agent and Sarah Bennett, and now the team Sarah. So she's
Thanks,
got a
Sarah.
team of agents now that can help you. And look for someone that's in that market that can guide you. Because if you come into a new market, or if you've lived in this market but you're new to investing, you want somebody to help you, to show you the way before you get started and make a big mistake. Because I can tell you, in our wholesale or our cash buying business, we buy a lot of properties from flippers who got in over their head, or landlords who bought something that doesn't cash flow because they used the wrong numbers from the wrong neighborhood. So get with somebody. We have REI Live. It's behind me. You can see the logo. If you're listening to this on the podcast, you can go to the YouTube page, look for REI Live on YouTube, and you can see us. And we'll wave at you. Um, so go to REI Live. That's our networking space where you can meet other investors, meet other agents that could help you, or just reach out to an agent. Like Sarah said, there's plenty of people here locally that will help you. Don't try to go it alone and make the big mistakes.
Mhm.
So I that's my pitch for that. Like that's there's no reason to go out alone, right? There's so many nuances that there's no reason to try it yourself. So, Sarah, I want to ask you just a couple of questions for that new person that might be thinking, real estate agent is the way I want to start in real estate.
Mhm.
Um, you've been in this a little over 5 years. What's something that you know today that you wish you knew then?
When I first went into real estate, I went real estate with the idea that I would make my own schedule. And I quickly learned that that is not the case. That is a myth. And
Yes.
anyone who tells you otherwise is lying. Real estate is 24/7. You have to be, when your client wants to look at something, you're going to go look at something. If somebody needs to meet with you, you work on their schedule and not your own. So that's the biggest thing that I've learned. And also, if someone reaches out to you and you wait too long to respond, they're going to move on. They're not going to just sit around and wait for you to call them back. They're going to find somebody else who's going to help them.
Yeah, 100%. I talked to
Mhm.
an agent yesterday, said they got a call at 9:30 at night. Turned out to be a new client
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
found the number and called at 9:30 and said, I want to look at something tomorrow. What?
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and she was like, who does that? And I was like, well, they do. And now they're your client. If you hadn't answered the phone, they would have been someone else's client. So
Absolutely.
if you want this to be a business, if you want to grow to be number one in the market, you're going to have to be prepared to answer your phone and work. You're in the service business. You're serving your clients. So be prepared for that. So that's great tip, Sarah. Great tip.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not all rose colored glasses there, is it? Um,
No, no.
so what have been, since you started, what have been some of the best resources that you've found that you've used to help you get to where you are? Besides your cameraman, your husband cameraman.
Besides my cameraman. Yeah. I mean, social media for me has really been a huge part of my success. I think that everybody kind of has their niche. Some people don't like social media still, and that I think that's totally fine. For me, social media has been a huge part of my business, and just learning what works, what doesn't work, how to post, when to post, what to post. Again, it's one of those things you have to be dedicated to it, and making sure that you are constantly creating new content. But social media is a huge resource.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm one of those people that, even though I'm technically a millennial, I'm not great at social media. I have to be forced to do it. But
Yes.
I completely agree. You got to be out there. Um, and did you follow in someone's footsteps? Did you have a mentor that took you with your agency? Did somebody help you along the way? Or I don't know if you signed up with somebody.
Not really. I mean, I knew some people who were in real estate. And so I did, when I went into real estate first, I asked a few questions,
Yeah.
to some people that I knew. My broker now that I work with is David Medley. And before I worked with him, I worked with another brokerage. And and even then, David was so willing to help me all the time. So that was always really great. But I will also say, if I could also mention another mentor, I also am a huge fan of Ryan Serhant from Million Dollar Listing. I was fortunate enough to meet him a couple of years ago. Got into his training program that he has for agents and anyone that's in sales. It would definitely benefit anybody. He has a membership that's been great. He's written a lot of books, and I've been fortunate enough to FaceTime with him a few times, talk to him. And I mean, he is such a marketing machine. I mean, he sold like $1 billion in real estate like last year. You know, I mean, he's amazing. So he's also another mentor that I've really aspire to be.
Yeah, absolutely. So just to piggyback on that, do you think that talking or having a mentor like David and Ryan, have you seen growth in yourself between before and after?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, when you first get into any new business or career or whatever, you may be a little timid, maybe a little shy, not really know exactly what to do. Having someone that you can ask questions, that can, support you and just give you great advice. And you have to be willing, obviously, to take it. It may not always be the advice that you're wanting to hear.
Yeah.
Is certainly very valuable as well.
Yeah, awesome. I totally, I'm there with you. That I was just curious. I didn't know really all of that story from you, so I'm glad to hear that. I'm 100% on board with that. I think one of the most overlooked, helpful resources out there is other people, mentors, coaches, people that have done it before. So, one more question for you, for our new listeners. What would be your number one advice for someone that's new in real estate?
Someone new in real estate. I would say make a daily schedule and stick to it. Whatever the things are that you want to focus on in this business, do some time blocking, set a schedule, make a routine, and stick with it.
Love that. Love that. I hope y'all wrote that down. I hope you have had a pen and pencil this whole time. Pen and pencil. How about pen and paper? Or well, you can one or the other.
Yeah. We have a pen and pencil, but no paper, Andrew.
Maybe you just have both of them. You're just drumming. So I hope you guys are taking notes, because this has been some gold here. Sarah's been awesome to share this with us. And, we can't go through every neighborhood in Columbia. We can't do that all right here. But I can tell you that the REI Live Columbia podcast, we are going to deep dive into neighborhoods and spend like a whole episode on specific neighborhoods. So you want to stay tuned to that. Our podcasts do come out each Tuesday. And again, you can find us on YouTube as well. So we will continue that series of just looking and checking out individual pockets and areas so that you can be a well-informed investor or buyer or seller, whatever that is for your business, or agent for that matter. Sarah, thank you so much. I want to ask, is there anything else you want to leave? Any parting? Do you want to leave a Instagram page or anything like that where people can find you?
Absolutely. So if you search Sarah Bennett Realtor on Instagram, you'll be able to find me that way. Again, it's I used to be my hashtag used to be Sarah the Realtor, but now we have a new hashtag, Team Sarah. Andrew mentioned it a little bit ago. I do have a couple of buyers agents now working with me and some other support staff. So I'm excited to see how it continues to grow.
Yeah, absolutely. So Team Sarah, hashtag that. That's awesome. Connect. If you're Columbia, Lexington, Midlands, she's got a team there that can help you. They sold a couple houses for us or bought some houses. We've done a lot together. I know that. So we appreciate that. And guys, REI Live Columbia, come check us out whenever you are ready to get started or to grow your real estate investing business. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Bye. All right. Pause.